Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. I hope you are having a fantastic Friday so far. My day is going pretty good. Thank you very much for asking. Anyway, today we are reacting to 50 facts about all 50 states. How many do you know? If you guys have got any interesting facts about the states you live in, please feel free to stick them down in the comments. I love reading stuff like that. But yeah, before we get into today's video, if you haven't done so already, please make sure you hit the subscribe button. And if you're feeling extra frisky on this Friday, you may as well give the video a like as well. I do have a Buy Me a Coffee page and a Patreon page linked down in the description if you want to help support the channel, but please feel no obligation to do so. And without further ado, let's check out 50 facts about all 50 states.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to World According to Briggs and a video about all 50 states. Today we're listing them in the order that they joined the Union and giving you some facts you may not know about that state. Now I say you may not know because people in the US know things about their own state that the rest of the country probably doesn't. This video will be easy on the brain without a bunch of stats or numbers.
That's good because my brain's a bit tired this week.
Just a fun, relaxing video. At the end, let me know what fact surprised you the most. All right, let's take a look. Number 1. Delaware. Delaware is known as the first state, and it entered the Union on December 7th, 1787. Prior to that, it was called the Colony of Delaware. Here's its fun fact. Delaware only has 3 counties. Yeah, it's that small. Only has 3 counties. Kent, Newcastle, and Sussex. This is the fewest in the country.
Kent, Newcastle, and Sussex. Those are all places in England as well.
Number 2, Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania joined the Union on December 12, 1787. Prior to becoming the state of Pennsylvania, or the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania actually, it was known as the proprietary province of Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania has the highest number of licensed hunters in the United States. I go there all the time. There's a lot of hunting, there's a lot of fishing going on in this state. Number 3, New Jersey. New Jersey joined the Union on December 18th, 1787. Prior to that, it was known as the Crown Colony of New Jersey. These days, its nickname is the Garden State, and it has nothing to do with people having nice gardens. It comes from an old speech a long time ago. New Jersey had the first Indian reservation in the United States, and New Jersey also is the first state to sign the Bill of Rights. Number 4, Georgia. The Peach State entered the Union on January 2nd, 1788. Prior to that, it was called the Crown Colony of Georgia. Fun fact, they have the world's largest college campus in Rome, Georgia. Yeah, Berry College. You ever heard of it? I never have. But They have the largest college campus on the planet. It's beautiful, too. I was just looking at pictures of it. Looks like old European buildings from way back when. Number 5, Connecticut. Connecticut joined the Union on January 9th, 1788, and prior to joining the Union, they were known as the Crown Colony of Connecticut. That was a very common name back then.
I like the look of that, all that water around. I love it. I love it. Whenever I'm near water, I just feel like my mood is a lot better.
Crown Colony. Connecticut's Yale University issued the first medical diploma in 1729. Number 6, Massachusetts. Massachusetts joined the Union.
I cannot say this bloody place. A few people have tried to sound it out for me, and I still get so tongue-tied. I'll try it. Let me hear it.
Issued the first medical diploma in 1729. Number 6, Massachusetts. Massachusetts joined.
Massachusetts? Massachusetts? I don't know. I'm sorry. If that's wrong, I'm sorry.
The Union on February 6, 1788. Prior to that, it was known as the Crown Colony of Massachusetts, and this state has the lowest divorce rate in the country. 2.2 for every 1,000 couples.
That's good.
Number 7, Maryland. Maryland joined the Union on April 28, 1788. Prior to becoming a state, it was known as the proprietary province of Maryland. They had a few firsts. They had the first railroad, the first dental school, and the very first umbrella factory in the United States. If you're from Oregon and you don't know what an umbrella is, it's those things that tourists hold over their head when it sprinkles. Number 8, South Carolina. The Palmetto State joined the Union on May 23rd, 1788, and prior.
Yeah, look at the amount of trees here compared to the one before.
After that, it was called the Crown Colony of South Carolina. Fun fact, Morgan Island in South Carolina has no human population. There are, however, about 3,500 free-range monkeys, thus earning the location the nickname Monkey Island. I'm not even kidding. There's an island filled with nothing but monkeys in South Carolina. Number 9, New Hampshire. New Hampshire entered the Union on June 21st, 1788.
Hold on, monkeys? Are they like invasive species? I didn't know America had monkeys. So far, this is the most shocking one.
I'm not even kidding. There's an island filled with nothing but monkeys in South Carolina. Number 9, New Hampshire. New Hampshire entered the Union on June 21st, 1788. Prior to that, it was called the Crown Colony of New Hampshire. New Hampshire was the first state to declare independence from England. I did not know that. This is also the only Declaration of Independence that has the term pound sand weasels. I didn't know that either. Number 10, Virginia. Virginia joined the Union on June 25th, 1788, and prior to that, it was called the Crown Colony and Dominion of Virginia. Fun fact, approximately 1/4 of Virginians work for the United States government. I also saw a stat one time that said it's closer to 35%, but somewhere around there. It's a lot. Number 11, New York. New York joined the Union on July 26, 1788, and before joining the Union, it was known as the Crown Colony of New York. From 1805 to 1962, New York was the most populous state in the U.S. before being overtaken by California. Number 12, North Carolina. North Carolina joined the Union on November 21st, 1789. Before that, it was known as the Crown Colony of North Carolina. The Biltmore Estate in Asheville is the largest privately owned residence in the world. Number 13, Rhode Island. Rhode Island joined the Union on May 29th, 1790. Prior to that, it was known as the Crown Colony of Rhode Island and Providence Plantation. Fun fact, the oldest operating tavern in the U.S. is the White Horse Tavern in Newport, Rhode Island, which was built in 1673. Number 14, Vermont. Vermont joined the Union on March 4th, 1791.
Nice.
Prior to that, it was called the Vermont Republic.
Bushy.
Vermont has the least amount of violent crimes in the entire country. They're also only one of 4 states that outlaw billboards. Number 15, Kentucky.
Freaking billboards. They are so popular here in Slovakia. Bloody billboards. They are, I don't know, they do my head in because there's such beautiful scenery. You go on these mountain drives and like literally on next to the road, there's just billboards everywhere. And I don't know, it really frustrates me. I know it's a bit random.
They're also only one of 4 states that outlaw billboards. Number 15, Kentucky. Kentucky joined the Union on June 1st, 1792. Prior to that, it was called Virginia. Yeah, they're part of Virginia. More than half the Americans killed in the War of 1812 were from Kentucky.
Holy
Number
smokes.
16, Tennessee. The volunteer state joined the Union on June 1st, 1796. Prior to that, it was part of the Southwest Territory. When Tennessee first became a state, it already had a population of about 77,000 people. That was in 1796. For the time, that was a ton of people. Number 17, Ohio. Ohio joined the Union on March 1st, 1803. Prior to that, they were known as being part of the Northwest Territory. Marietta, Ohio was founded in 1788, and it was the first permanent settlement in Ohio. It was named after Marie Antoinette. Number 18, Louisiana. Louisiana joined the Union on April 30th.
It's another place on my bucket list. I really want to go to Louisiana one day.
Marie Antoinette. Number 18, Louisiana. Louisiana joined the Union on April 30th, 1812. Prior to that, it was known as the Territory of Orleans. Louisiana is the only state that doesn't have counties. Its political subdivisions are known as parishes. Number 19, Indiana. Indiana joined the Union on December 11th, 1816. Prior to that, it was known as the Indiana Territory. The first professional baseball game was played in Fort Wayne in 1871. Number 20, Mississippi. Mississippi joined the Union on December 10th, 1817, and
Mississippi is still one of those places. I learned to spell Mississippi at school. I was just knee-high to a grasshopper, and I'm still so happy I can spell it. I don't know why.
Mississippi joined the Union on December 10th, 1817, and prior to joining the Union, the Magnolia State was known as the Mississippi Territory. About 60% of the country's farm-raised catfish comes from Mississippi. Number 21, Illinois. Illinois joined the Union on December 3rd, 1818. Part of it was known as the Illinois Territory before that. In 1865, Illinois ratified the 13th Amendment to abolish slavery. It was the first state to do so. 22, Alabama. Alabama joined the Union on December 14th, 1819. Prior to that, it was known as the Alabama Territory. The Unclaimed Baggage Center of Scottsboro is where all unclaimed airline luggage is sent. Number
I did
23,
know that.
Maine.
I did know that. I didn't know that was in Alabama though. But I watched some program where they barred bloody lost luggage, and that was one of the facts on there.
Maine joined the Union on March 15th, 1820. Prior to that, it was known as Massachusetts. Actually, it was part of Massachusetts, but it was known as the District of Maine. It is believed that the land that is now Maine was discovered by Viking about 1,000 years ago. Number 24. Missouri. The Show Me State joined the Union on August 10th, 1821. Prior to that, it was known as the Missouri Territory. Missouri leads the nation in lead production. I bet that was a lot more important back when we used to use lead in our pencils. 25, yeah. Arkansas.
We were actually worried that we might have lead in our water. We've sent off a bit of our water to get tested because, like, all of us have not been feeling great lately. And I was like, yeah, but we drink so much water. It might have something to do with the water. So yeah, we've actually had a look. We've sent off some water for some testing. I'm hoping there's no lead in there. But
Arkansas joined the Union on June 15th, 1836. Prior to that, it was the Arkansas Territory. These people actually passed a law in 1947 that officially discouraged the mispronunciation of Arkansas while in the state. I guess they'd heard one too many jokes about being Arkansas or something like that. You think they...
I was just going to say, whenever I read it as Arkansas. I don't know why. I apologize for that. I'll get into trouble in Arkansas. I hope I'm saying it right. I'm so shit with pronunciation.
Would have passed a law about, relatives marrying each other type jokes. Oh. Number 26, Michigan. Michigan was admitted into the Union on January 26, 1837. Prior to that, it was called the Michigan Territory. Michigan has the second highest amount of shoreline in the United States after Alaska. It's funny, people always seem to think that's going to be California or Florida. It's either Alaska, Michigan, works its way down from there. 27, Florida. Florida was admitted into the Union on March 3rd, 1845. Prior to that, it was known as the Florida.
Sorry, what I would give to be on the beach now. The weather is so crap here. It's not even the cold at the moment, because it's not really that cold. It's just the wet. It's been raining non-stop. I think yesterday it stopped raining for about 2 hours, and it's just the weather's crap.
It was admitted into the Union on March 3rd, 1845. Prior to that, it was known as the Florida Territory. Florida has over 1,250 golf courses. That's more than any other U.S. state. Number 28, Texas. Texas was admitted into the Union on December 29th, 1845. Prior to that, it was the Republic of Texas. Texas's King Ranch is bigger than the entire state of Rhode Island. Yeah, one ranch. 29, Iowa. Iowa was admitted into the Union on December 28, 1846. Prior to that, it was known as the Iowa Territory. Iowa's east and west borders are comprised completely of water from the Missouri and Mississippi rivers. It's the only state in the Union that can claim that. Number 30, Wisconsin. Wisconsin was admitted into the Union on May 29th, 1845.
Hello, Wisconsin. That's from that 70s show, isn't it? That's where I remember that from.
Prior to that, it was known as the Wisconsin Territory, at least parts of it. Wisconsin produces 15% of all the milk in the United States. That's more than any other state. 31, California. California was admitted into the Union on September 9th, 1850. It was an unrecognized territory prior to that. It was actually part of Mexico. Approximately 8% of Californians are vegetarians. Number 32, Minnesota. 8%. Minnesota was admitted into the Union on May 11th, 1858. Prior to that, it was the Minnesota Territory. Again, parts of it were something else. The first bus line was started back in 1914 in Hibbing, Minnesota. The line originally ran from Hibbing to Alice, Minnesota, and it cost 15 cents per ride. That bus line went on to become known as Greyhound. That's interesting. Number 33, Oregon. Oregon was admitted into the Union on...
Sorry to interrupt again. We had Greyhound buses in South Africa, and that was one of the first long journeys I ever took, was from where we lived in Durban. I got the Greyhound bus to somewhere called Witbank, and that was... I think it was 12 or 13 hours on a bus, and it was my first time solo travel as a young man. Yeah. Greyhound.
That's interesting.
It was horrible.
Number 33, Oregon. Oregon was admitted into the Union on Valentine's Day, February 14th, 1859. Sort of like a Valentine's gift for the United States. Prior to that, it was known as the Oregon Territory. The number of ghost towns located in Oregon surpasses every other U.S. state. Number 34, Kansas. Kansas was admitted into the Union on January 29th, 1861. Back then, it was the Kansas Territory. Dodge City is the windiest city in the U.S. with an average wind speed of 14 miles per hour. This is ironic since Chicago's known as the Windy City, and it has an average wind speed of 10 miles per hour. The fact is, Chicago's Windy City nickname didn't come from wind. It came from hot air given out by politicians. You know, they're full of hot air. You know, there's blowing wind. All those little things about politicians talking a bunch of garbage. That's where that came from. Some people don't believe that's where the Chicago Windy City came from, but most people do. Number 35, West Virginia. West Virginia was admitted into the Union on June 20th, 1863.
Can we just pause and look at this little cottage here? That there, if that's got a lake anywhere near there or ocean or anything near that, a cottage like that, that is my dream home. 4 or 5 acres, nothing too big. The more the better, but 4 or 5 acres, something to keep me a few bits of livestock. Me sitting on my little balcony there, porch, having a coffee in the morning. That is my dream house. That I would love to live in something like that. And so would Kat. Whenever we go past a wooden cabin or something, she's like, oh, can you just imagine? One day when we retire.
3. Prior to that, it was part of Virginia. West Virginia was the first state to implement a sales tax. You know, it's really strange, a little side note to this, that there were so many states out west that became states before, you know, states like West Virginia or even Kansas. Number 36, Nevada. Nevada was admitted into the Union on Halloween, October 31st, 1864. Back then it was the Nevada Territory, or a big giant dirt field by most accounts. Las Vegas is not only the site for the majority of the world's biggest hotels, but it also has more hotel rooms than anywhere else in the world. Yes, even more than Possum Trot, Kentucky. Number 37, Nebraska. Nebraska was admitted into the Union on March 1st, 1867. Prior to that, it was known as the Nebraska Territory. The 911 emergency system used in the U.S. to date was developed and first used in Lincoln, Nebraska. 38, Colorado. Colorado was admitted into the Union on August 1st, 1876. 1776, when we started this experiment known as the...
The only shit thing for me with that is the snow. I don't want the cold. Somewhere warm. Then I'm happy.
United States, but they were 100 years later, so they're known as the Centennial State. Prior to becoming a state, it was known as the Colorado Territory. Leadville, Colorado is the highest incorporated town in the country at over 10,000 feet above sea level. Number 39, North Dakota. North Dakota was admitted into the Union on November 2nd, 1889. It was known as the Dakota Territory. North Dakota is one of the least visited states in the U.S. If you ever go through there, you'll probably see why. Number 40, South Dakota. South Dakota was admitted into the Union the same day as North Dakota on November 2nd, 1889, and yes, it was part of the Dakota Territory. South Dakota has the largest population of Native Americans in the United States. Approximately 60,000 people from 9 official tribes reside in South Dakota. Number 41, Montana. Montana was admitted into the Union on November 8, 1889, along with South Dakota and North Dakota. Prior to that, it was the Montana Territory. The famous battle, Custer's Last Stand, took place in 1876 along the Little Bighorn River in Montana. This happened after the U.S. Army came to move Native Americans to a reservation. So, if you don't know about this, you're from another country, basically, this was the equivalent of a bunch of soldiers showing up at your house, or maybe your farm that your family owned for decades and decades and decades, and saying, hey, we're going to move you to a sleazy motel down the road. We'll help you pack. 42, Washington. Washington joined the Union on November 11, 1889. Prior to that, it was known as the Washington Territory. Seattle, Washington has the highest percentage of residents with college degrees in the U.S. 43, smart. Idaho. Idaho joined the Union on July 3rd, 1890. They did it on July 3rd because they were tired of missing out on that whole 4th of July celebration thing. Prior to this, it was known as the Idaho Territory. The university, Boise State, has the world's first blue football field. Its nickname, the Smurf Turf. Number 44, Wyoming. Like Wyoming was admitted in the Union on July 10th, 1890. They missed out on the whole 4th of July celebration. Prior to this, it was known as the Wyoming Territory. Devil's Tower was named the first national monument in the United States. Gets better. Yellowstone National Park was the first national park in the country, and that happened back in 1872, before they became a state. 45. Utah. Utah was admitted into the Union on January 4th, 1886. Prior to that, it was known as the Utah Territory. Utah has the youngest population in the entire United States, as well as one of the highest birth rates. Those people like to have kids out there. Number 46, Oklahoma. Oklahoma was admitted into the Union on November 16th, 1907. Back then, it was known as the Oklahoma Territory and the Indian Territory. Almost 1/4 of Oklahoma's residents are under the age of 18. Number 47,
smokes,
New
1/4.
Mexico. New Mexico joined the Union on January 6, 1912. Prior to that, they were known as the New Mexico.
I like the architecture in New Mexico. From what I've seen in pictures and videos and stuff, it looks really like oldie worldy. I like the way it looks.
Mexico Territory. Approximately 75% of the roads in this state are unpaved. 48, Arizona. Arizona joined the Union on Valentine's Day again, February 14th, 1912. Back then it was known as the Arizona Territory. The bridge at Lake Havasu is constructed of stones used to construct the original London Bridge. Number 49, what? Alaska. Alaska joined the Union on January 3rd, 1959. Prior to that, it was the Alaska Territory, and prior to that, it was part of Russia. There are over 3 million lakes and 3,000 rivers located within the state of Alaska. It's a lot of water.
Yeah, it is.
All right, before we get to the last one, which you probably already know who it is, don't forget we have another channel called On This Day. There is a link down below. All right, on to number 50. Number 50, Hawaii. That's right, the Pineapple State, or the Aloha State. Spam State, I like to call it sometimes. It's at number 50. It was called the Territory of Hawaii prior to becoming a state. It is one of only 2 states in the U.S. that grows its own coffee. All right, everyone, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. It was a little different.
I did enjoy that video. The most shocking one for me, and I still can't get over it, is the monkeys. I'm going to Google that now. I never even knew you had... They've got to be, like, invasive, surely.
The first medical diploma in...
Let's see if I can find where they are again so I can Google it. There we are. Yeah, that's amazing to me. I didn't think... I'm going to Google it. I want to have a look. What was your most shocking ones? And if you've got any interesting facts you would like to share, feel free to leave them down in the comments. If you even made it this far in the video, a lot of you would have clicked off long ago, which I don't blame you. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. And I hope you have a great weekend as well. Be good, be careful, and hug a loved one. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.